This interview is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching and the 21-Day Transformation. And if you are someone who is ready to amplify your life, kick butt, take names, you're tired of putting up with excuses, you're tired of putting up with playing small, with being a victim, with waiting, someday, blaming, all this nonsense, and you feel like you've seen those 90-day transformations and you say, that's too long. I want this done in 21 days. I want a whole new reality to step into in 21 days. And the 21-day transformation that we're working on one-on-one, you and I, will be the best fit for you, because when you step into these shoes, you will have daily accountability, you will have habits and rituals that you set yourself up for success, and you'll be single-mindedly focused on your 21-day goal so that you execute and you do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, and you'll have me supporting you every step of the way. And as stuff comes up, past programming, limiting beliefs, all that nonsense, just know that I am here to have your back and make sure that you keep stepping forward courageously. So if that sounds of interest to you, send me a message at facebook.com/th3burns, or get in contact with me anyway and let me know you want to take part in the 21-day transformation, and I can send you an application and see if you're a good fit for it. So this next part is the iTunes review of the week, and this was left by 17th Try. And she said, I loved this insight. I've heard people say before things like, don't wait until you're ready. You'll never be ready. I loved your twist on that. If you'll never be ready, you'll also never not be ready. Your energy is powerful. I look forward to hearing more episodes of your show. Thank you, 17th Try. And if you enjoyed the 12-hour marathon, Become Your Greatest Possible Self, we appreciate when you leave a review for us on iTunes, beyourgps.com/iTunes, or you can search for Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self in iTunes, or you can find Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on Facebook as well and leave us a review there. We appreciate it all. It is all good, all good. So the next phase is introducing the woman of the hour. Cindy Schulson shows coaches and consultants how to stand out in this noisy online world by marketing with heart versus hype. Cindy brings a decade of marketing experience working for such companies as Coca-Cola and Visa, combined with a decade of online marketing to create a paradigm shift in how marketing can be done with integrity and heart. One of her greatest gifts is helping her clients sort through their brain dump of ideas so they can find the golden nuggets that make them shine in their own unique way. Cindy is well known for her down-to-earth approach. What you see is what you get. Her love of adventure has led her to live and work in 5 countries, and she continues to bring that adventurous spirit to both her business and life. Cindy, are you ready to rock this? She is.
I'm amazed at your energy level. You're just incredible. You're like an Energizer bunny.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. I just love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. And I think, when you're standing in the place of heart versus hype, you totally get that. You totally get when you love what you do and you show up. Yeah, there's going to be days where you probably don't want to show up. You don't want to do it, but you still show up because you know there's a bigger why. There's a bigger passion behind it. And that will get us through the tough days. So you get it. And thank you so much for being on the show today, coming on for an interview. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to dive right into the theme of the day, which today is freedom to choose. So Cindy, how does that theme, how does that idea, that concept of freedom to choose, how is that important to you, or how has it showed up in your life?
Oh my gosh, I can't even begin to tell you. There's so many answers to that one. I mean, freedom to choose is why we all become entrepreneurs, frankly. Whether it's choosing our time or choosing the people we want to work with or choosing the work that we want to do. That's what it's all about for me more than anything. I come from the corporate world. So I spend enough time doing what other people wanted me to do. I'll tell a quick story if I can. Can
Please.
I just share this with you? One of my last jobs, I was working for a consulting firm. It was a global major consulting firm. And I had just done a project for them in something called corporate social responsibility, CSR, right? And I just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this. I want to start up a division for our San Francisco office in CSR. So somehow, don't ask me how, I managed to get a meeting with the CEO and I pitched him on this idea. And I remember him just kind of sitting there, like perched at the edge of my desk and like looking at me through these wire rimmed glasses and stroking his beard. And I'm like, yes, he's eating this up. And at the end of it, he just looked at me and said, there's not enough money in that. Forget it. And I remember, Chris, like this like light went inside of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, one day I'm going to do what I want to do.
Mm.
And little did I know, but I was actually pregnant with my first child at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know. And
so that light was literally born inside of you.
It was like my son, he was fueling me. And anyway, I ended up moving to San Diego when I was 7 months pregnant to start up or to help build their San Diego office. And 2 months later, I left for good because I gave birth and I never went back.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that freedom to like, it's not just about, choosing our time. It's about choosing what makes us passionate.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so cool because we live in a world and an age today where there's so many options. I think that's one of the challenges. I think you mentioned in your intro, or I mentioned that there's like an overwhelm of ideas. How do you sort through all the shiny objects, the possibilities, the potentials, the different routes that we can get to our end destination? And I love that, that's available. And at the same time, like it used to be where you had, like there was this mindset where you have to go get one job and be there, however miserable you are, however long it takes, just suffer through that. And I think that there's an aspect of commitment that was really powerful there, that was really useful for people that I think has been lost. There's more of a focus on comfortability these days, which causes people to want everything to be easy rather than being willing to do what it takes as long as it takes to find the solution and being willing to pivot and being willing to do that stuff. People think it's supposed to be like an instant kind of fix, hey, I jump into entrepreneurship and 6 months later I'm supposed to be a millionaire, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the people, and maybe I'm sure that can be very true. Uh-huh. And the people that tend to come to me tend to have like they have a foundation of success. They know what it takes to create success. They don't expect to get instant results,
right.
But at the same time, I think they're getting wiser to that because they've seen that it doesn't work. Because they've seen that, investing in a $20,000 program just because it's $20,000 doesn't necessarily give them results. Like they see that there's no magic bullet. So I think by the time, and that's sort of why I get so passionate about this whole marketing with heart versus hype thing, because they're done with the hype. Like people are done with it. I don't know about you, Chris, but I am so over it. Yeah. And that's why I love Facebook for, business. But other than that, I kind of I will do it for business, but there's so much nonsense out there. And I get really pissed off when I hear about people who, not pissed off, but pissed off on their behalf, who like invested in all of these things and they didn't get results. And you know what I found the number one reason is that they didn't build a strategic foundation. They just went straight into like, okay, let's do this because this is what we're told to do. And let's do this because this is what they sold us to do. And you know what? Let's build the strategic foundation first. And let's create like a brand and a message that's so true to you. And then we can get your message out there. Then we can monetize your message. But it all starts with clarity first. And if people skip that part, then they spin their wheels. And hey, I did it for 1.5 years, so I get it.
Well, that's awesome. I know I do want to dive into more of the practical, how can our listeners start discovering that? Whoever's out there listening or watching the show right now, we want to give them practical, actionable stuff. Before that, though, I want to go back into your journey a little bit more. You mentioned you took that big leap and you never went back. Tell us about that journey, the evolution that you had, and maybe even some of the challenges, the wisdom, the moments where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, and you're ready to throw in the towel. I think that's the juice that a lot of people just want to know that it's possible. So let's take our listener to that point.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so as you said, like I left my corporate thing. I was 36 when I had my first child. And so I had a great career. I had a really cool career. And I was earning double what my husband was earning at that time.
Wow.
And I quit my job and we lived on a very simple income. And I just said, screw it. I just want to be here to raise my child. And of course, though, being the typical type A crazy person, I still had to go out and do something else. So I tried all these different things. Nothing was really working. And then one day I went to a group coaching program to help me build a business that I was building. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this coaching thing. So I signed up for a coaching program and an internet marketing training program at the same time, like literally the same day. And I spent a year and a half just completely spinning my wheels because you know what I did? I got totally into action. I was like, okay, I'm going to blog. I'm going to do SEO. I'm going to do video. I'm going to do this, that, all this marketing. And I was missing that foundation that I was telling you about. I didn't know really who I was here to help or what I was here to help them with or how to articulate that. I was missing all of that. And I finally took a step back and I'm like, okay, Cindy, this is not working. You should know better. And that's the irony because my background is in strategic communications and marketing. That's what I did in corporate.
Wow.
I'm like, holy crap, if I missed this, imagine, right? So I put together this little step-by-step guide to help me find my niche. And because everything I read was like, oh, I'll just choose a target market and figure out what they want. But I was like, no, this is my business. I want to bring my passions. I want to bring my experiences, my strengths to my business and build my business from a place of passion and strength. And so when I put together this little step-by-step guide, I just put it up on a landing page, didn't even have the website. And in 2 or 3 weeks, I had more people on my list than I did in the entire year and a half before that without like anything. Like people just were finding it. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path now. It was a year and a half of tremendous frustration.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine. I think that's what our listener might be going through out there is like, I just want it to work. I want to break through to the flow, to the ease, to something that feels like it's totally aligned with me. So like what did you think, that year and a half that you were going through that, what did you think, how did you get through that? What were some of the things that you focused on or, really, how did you get through that? The practices, the rituals, the habits that got you through that period?
That's a great question. I wish I could remember. It's been 10 years. And I had 2 little kids at that time, right? I had one in preschool and I had a little one. I just was not like, I think I was just trying to get through the day, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I just kept thinking, well, if I work harder, I'll get there. Like, and it just wasn't working. And then, I'm a really strategic person. And I was really like, Cindy, why did you miss this whole strategy piece? Yeah. But I'll be honest with you. It's not like once I figured that out, everything just flowed seamlessly, right?
Right.
Like that, I started attracting clients, but not always like my perfect clients. And that's where like the second lesson came in for me. Can I share that one?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what I realized was that even though I was working from this place of strength and I had clarity, I wasn't necessarily putting my heart in my message. And I realized that that when you can really share not just what you do, but who you are and what you stand for, that's when you can attract more of those dream clients. And to me, a dream client is somebody who values what you do and who you are.
Right.
So that you're just totally aligned. And that's when things get not just more profitable, but way more fun.
Yes.
Because I just love all my clients.
Yes, please. We love fun. We love fun here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's start diving into more, like maybe we got to go back to the clarity piece, like what we can do to start getting clarity in this process. Okay.
So I work mainly with coaches and consultants, but I think this works for any service provider, right? So the first piece I'll just share with you if I can, sort of the way I see marketing.
Please.
All right. So to me, marketing is just sharing your message with the right people so they're inspired to take action. So what I do is I break that down into all the little bite-sized pieces. So you have to know, marketing is sharing your message. So you have to know what your message is. With the right people, you have to know who they are, so they're inspired to take action. So you have to know what action you want them to take and how to inspire them to take it. And once you get those little building blocks in place, then it's a heck of a lot easier.
I believe it.
So the first step is to figure out, who are the right people and what's my message?
Right.
What do I want them to understand? So the first piece is really, it comes down to the niche, which everybody can't stand the idea of finding a niche because it feels like you're like in a straitjacket, right? And for us freedom seekers, that feels really confining. So I want to give people just one little mindset shift that actually a client shared with me.
Wow.
he did my copywriting course, and he shared this with me, and oh, it's so brilliant. Can I steal that? And he said, yes. So thank you. So the word niche actually comes from the French nicher. Mm-hmm. Niche. And I'm from Montreal, so I speak French. So forgive me if I pronounce that in an annoying way. But niche is to nest.
Okay.
So when you think about a niche, instead of thinking about it like a hole, think about it like a nest that you're going to snuggle into.
That's good.
Isn't that good? I love that. So it's just like, it's something that it's about focusing us, not limiting us. So when we're finding the niche, it's getting clear on what is that solution you're here to provide, and who is the best match for your solution and for you. And rather than start with the outside, the who, I start with the inside and really think about what is that solution that you're here to provide. And we do a deep dive on that.
Beautiful. So do you look at, like I've heard before, to look at what inspires you or what makes you pissed off, what were the moments in your past, the defining moments, what challenges did you go through? How do we know what is the right thing to base our evidence off? What's the logic that we look at when it comes to defining the niche?
So I do a deep dive into a few key areas, into your passions, into your skills and strengths, and into your experiences.
Okay.
To me, it's about looking for the patterns. So that's where I think it gets tough for people, because they're too close to it and they don't necessarily see the patterns and the opportunities. So that's where it gets a little challenging for people. But because I don't know, I used to work in market research, so I'm able to look at like all this information and find the patterns, Wow. So it's like, just find the patterns and the answer is there. But it has to be right for you. It's not like I can look on paper and say, here's what your niche should be. It has to light you up. There's no point. I've seen it happen too many times where like something sounded great on paper, but they're just like, I'm just not passionate about that. Then it's okay. That's not for you because it's not sustainable.
Right.
So they've all got to align. So that's the first part.
Okay, so it's getting clear on that niche and that background, what's the experiences, skills, abilities, and lining that up to choose a direction, choose a focus, and then what do we do from there?
So what you're going to come up with at that is like the solution that you're here to provide. So the platform that you're here to stand on, right? Because that's what we need. We can't just, we have to break it down between a solution, an outcome, and a result. And a lot of people solution, outcome, and process. And a lot of people try focusing on selling the process, whether it's coaching or EFT. No, we know people are not interested in that. And yes, they definitely want the outcome, and we have to focus on that in our messaging, but we still need to make that more tangible and get clear on your solution, because otherwise you just sound like everybody else, frankly. And there's so many other people. So when you have a clear solution, then you can attract more of those JV partners and you can become that expert in that particular area, et cetera. Right?
Yeah. So what does that look like to define that solution?
So as an example, for me, it's messaging. And hey, Chris, I spent 10 years in corporate working in strategic communications doing messaging. And I never even thought about how to leverage that in my business for a year and a half. It was right in front of me. And I see that a lot because we kind of go, well, that was then, this is now. And I'm like, no, hang on. Your value as an entrepreneur is based on what you bring into your business, not just when you start your business. But we tend to kind of throw it out. But if you can take your skills and align it with your passions, then you have gold.
Awesome.
And it's not always a direct link like that, like a corporate background, but sometimes there are direct links. We just don't see how to apply those strengths, right?
What would you say is the biggest challenge when it comes to people looking at their past, looking at what they've already accomplished, the skills and abilities, and bringing that into the ability to articulate the solution?
Well, I think it's not so much about articulating at that point. That's the next step, is how do you explain this? How do you message it? I think going back, it's like, how do you identify it? And it's a great question, because I think there are two problems. One is, as I said, we're too close to it, so we don't always see the patterns. But then the other one is that we tend to undervalue what we bring to the table. It's like, do you know that I never even, once I even got clear on messaging, I never even mentioned the fact that I worked for amazing companies like Coke and Visa. I was like, well, who would care about that? I mean, like, we don't value our experiences.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to make sure that we're bringing all of that. Because to me, it's like, to me, marketing with heart, it's coming from a place of passion and confidence and strength. So build your business from a place of strength.
Can you tell us about one of the other clients that you've worked with to help them where they were at before with the solution and where they were at after? Like what the clarity that they got with that?
Test my brain. Oh my goodness. I'll be honest with you, most of the people who come to me have been in business and it's refining. We're not necessarily starting from scratch. So let me just think of an example somebody who was completely, here's a good one. Okay. So I was working with a client, Deanna, and Deanna, she's so interesting because she's a physicist. And I don't know if she's on Facebook and listening. Hi, Deanna. But she's a physicist by training and she's a physics teacher. And yet she got totally into Akashic Records, which is very spiritual. Yeah. And so, and she's very playful and really fun, right? So I'll use her as an example for the message in a minute, but first we'll talk about the focus. So what she realized is that she could kind of use this combination of like this scientific side plus the spiritual intuitive side to help entrepreneurs really build in a business that's aligned with their zone of genius.
Wow.
So that's, we just honed in and now she's just on fire. But then we created some messaging, which is the next step that really brings her spirit to all of her business. So I can get into the messaging when you want as well.
Yeah, let's dive in. It's like trust the flow wherever the conversation goes. I'm cool. If we jump around, it's awesome.
Yeah, or I want to hear from you too. Like I don't want to.
Well,
Mike hog.
Yeah. I think that what you're sharing is really good. I wanted to, just kind of get the overview of the process and the how we can kind of start digging into it, how our listener would be able to start doing this on their own, because I know that they can go in a deep dive with you and get that. And I think some breadcrumbs along the way, some exercises, some questions that we can ask ourselves, and even, anyone listening right now, write it down, write these questions down that Cindy is giving us so that we can be more specific on our messaging, on our niche, on the solution, all that good stuff. So that's my approach that I wanted to take in this.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So the first part is we talked about the solution and then matching it with the right ideal client for you. So then it's about aligning it with who is looking for that solution, who's able to invest in that solution. Can you find them offline and online? Can you relate to them? Are you passionate about helping them? So we have to do a little bit. The way I approach it is like, okay, we get clear on the solution. Now we do a big brainstorm. Who are some possible target markets for you? And we just, no editing yourself, just a big brainstorm, and then put them through the filter to make sure they meet those criteria. Right? So then we'll choose a target market, and then we drill down even further to get clear on the ideal client. And I think the problem, Chris, is everybody wants to start with the ideal client. But as you can see, there's a lot of steps before we get there.
To get there, right.
Yeah. And I think that's why people get so frustrated.
Yeah, I know, like, having the desire to go out and help people and make a difference in the world and saying, I want to help this person, but not being clear on how you actually help them, how you deliver that service or solution, how you articulate it, all that good stuff, then that's definitely a big stumbling block for a lot of people.
Yeah. And it feels like something like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to get into action. Well, remember, that's what I did for a year and a half. I called it ignorance on fire because I was just like doing it all and getting nowhere. Right. So, like the more that we can just pause, breathe, do this work up front, it will pay off because you won't be spending all this time and money on things that don't get you results.
And we're all about results here. We love results.
Good. And fun.
Awesome. So what would be the next step that we do, Cindy?
Okay. So the next step, once we clarify our message, now we're ready to share. No, I'm sorry. Clarify our niche. Now we need to clarify our message, right? Okay. So that's the next step. So here's the problem. We think about a message as like a sentence or a phrase, and it's actually not. There are 5 different layers of messaging that we have to create.
Wow.
I know, eh? I'm not going to overwhelm people. I'm just going to focus on the first couple. The
Okay.
first one is what I call the core message.
Hmm.
And that's what you stand for in your business.
Hmm.
That's the unique approach, perspective, or stand that you're here to take.
Hmm.
And here's how I want people to think about it, right? So, you've heard the expression that people buy on emotion and justify with logic.
Right.
Okay. So we know that we need to connect with the hearts and the minds of our ideal clients.
Hmm.
But the missing piece is that in order to do that, we need to put our heart and our mind in our message.
Hmm.
And I didn't do this for a while, Chris. I operated from the head.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. When I put more of my heart in it, that's when I started not only standing out more, but also attracting the people that I really was aligned with.
Hmm. And that heart is, again, what you stand for, your beliefs, your values, that kind of thing?
It's the stand that you're here to take for your clients.
Hmm.
So as an example, I want you to just imagine like you have a room full of your ideal clients sitting in front of you, and you have just seconds to say something that will not get them to hire you necessarily, but get them to shift how they think, shift their perspective. Just one idea that can transform the way they see things.
Right.
That's really powerful. When
Like, can you give us some examples of what that
Sure.
might look like?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients is a personal development expert. And personal development, there's so many people who teach personal development, right? She's got years of experience. She's amazing. But she has a really powerful stand. She says that, most personal development, it's all about reinventing yourself. That's how most people in personal development talk. And what her stand is that personal development isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about celebrating and recognizing who you truly are. So that's her stand.
Wow.
And then we use that stand to create her own marketing message,
Wow.
which is I might get this a little wrong, but I guide spiritual women to step into who they truly are so they can make the difference they're here to make.
Wow.
So we fuse the heart, which is the core message, with the mind, which is that typical marketing message, to create a truly magnetic message that speaks your truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. Great example.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's the next part of the sequence? What do we get to do next?
Now we get to share our message.
Woohoo! Love it.
Yay! Now we get to share it. And that's where we all want to jump to. That's what I started jumping to without doing all this other work first, right?
Yep.
So what's your favorite way to share your message?
I love talking. I love speaking on Facebook Lives. That's, I often surround myself with people who are effective communicators online and putting out content, whether it's videos or audio. I love it when someone is putting out videos, because that shows that they've done enough personal work on themselves to have them know it's not about themselves, it's about other people, that I'm willing to get myself out of the way, no matter how silly I think I look or how unconfident I might be. Like, I'm going to show up because I know that this method or this delivery channel of video, this media communication style is the most powerful, right? I think that video is the most powerful. It's what will impact people's minds, subconscious the most, because you get the visual, you get the auditory versus reading. I mean, certain people might have the modality preference of reading versus watching video, and certain people might have the modality preference of audio rather than watching video. But I believe that when you do the video, you can create all those different media types. You can transcribe a video, you can separate the audio, you can do all these different things. So I love doing video, and that's my preference.
And you're great at it. What I love, I remember my first Facebook Live, I ran a 5-day challenge, and I'd never done a Facebook Live. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I had to do it for 5 days. And it's so much scarier than it's so much less scary than you think it's going to be, because you're just like, screw it. They don't care about what I look like.
Nope.
Right? They just care about what I have to say. But I still had to shower for 5 days. It was painful.
And I think the earlier we start getting on camera, the faster we can make a bigger impact, the more bold we will be. I know for me, I've had a challenge with being too comfortable behind the camera. And now it's like, hey, Chris, in front of stages, in front of live audiences, because that's where my energy really most connects with people, is live at live events. And that's where people are really able to see me at work. And that's where I come alive the most as well. Like versus behind the camera is great and it's awesome and it's great delivery method. And I just know in person is what juices me up. It's what fulfills me. So I think that that's important to know too, like you said earlier, about what are your strengths, what are your gifts, your skills. If someone is already masterful at writing, then keep doing what you're masterful at. Keep doing what is your expertise. And then if there's another medium that you need to get into to like coach people or reach people or deliver your services or genius or whatever it might be, then start working on that as well. But for me, it's like, I figure everyone should get in front of a camera to start breaking through that self-limitation and lack of courage and confidence and all that good stuff.
I so agree. Speaking is absolutely, like, to me, one of the best ways to start sharing your message. And whether it's in front of a camera like this, or it's on a podcast where it's just audio. I mean, podcasts we met at the podcast event, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, podcasts. So you could do it on Facebook Live. You could do interviews. You could do summits. You could do like video on LinkedIn. Like there's so many places to speak your message.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you said, like, what's the next step in the journey? As we start sharing our message, I think that we have to have a couple of things in place. So number one, you're right. Choose the ways that really, excite you the most. But make sure, remember we said marketing is sharing your message with the right people so they're inspired to take action. We have to have an action for people to take.
Yep.
And that's where growing your email list really comes in too. Because so many times, like I remember I was at an event, a different event, and I was on stage and there was another woman on stage after, and I built my business almost completely online. And she came up to me after and she said, "What do I do to build my list?" And I said, "Well, you've been a speaker for like 15 years. Haven't you been building your list?" And she said, "No." I was like, oh, just broke my heart. So we have to make sure we're leveraging our marketing by growing our email list.
Yes.
So we need to have that targeted giveaway. And are you still amazed that there's so many people that don't have that in place?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. I think it's becoming the standard more and more though. So I'm grateful that people are becoming aware of it. And I think also as that happens, more and more new challenges come that people who are feeling oversold or, over opted in, whatever else is going on, that they're more reluctant to do that stuff. But like you said, if it's a targeted giveaway, if it's specific, the languaging specific, the messaging, and what people get, the solution is clear, and then there's no reason why they wouldn't say, "I want this, I need this, I got to have it. Let's opt in."
Exactly. So it has to be valuable, aimed at your ideal client, but also, and this is where we have to really think about our speaking too. We have to think about, like, what is the topic we're speaking on? And then, like, remember I said there's 5 layers of your message. Another part of your messaging platform is your key messages. Those are your little sound bites, your little nuggets, your educational teaching points that you're going to build into your speaking. And those have to add value and position your offer. Wow. So we have to be, it's that strategy that comes into place again. Like, what is it you want to speak about that will, as you said, you want to give people actionable stuff. So I want, if everybody's speaking, think about the 3 key teaching points that you want to share and see if you can get them down into little sound bites, and then make sure that they're aligned with the action you want people to take when they hear you speak.
So is the action that we want people to take, is that like the next step as in opting in, or is the action to the like what your values are, what you stand for, and the stand that we are for our clients and customers? What's that? What would you recommend as that next step?
You raise a great point, because that core message actually has to be built into all of your marketing. That core message is the heart of your brand. Right. So that's kind of like the umbrella. That's our guiding point, right? So we have to weave it into our key messages, because it has to show up in all of our marketing. But the action it depends on where you're speaking. Sometimes you probably had speaking opportunities where you're selling
Selling from
something,
stage, yeah.
or maybe you're just offering a consultation, or maybe you're offering a free giveaway. Like, it depends on the speaking opportunity.
So what would be some examples of key teaching points that lead to a solid next step to do that?
I'll use my, I'm so sorry, Chris. I'll use my own example. So I just did recently a webinar called, I think it was called Marketing with Heart versus Hype, 3 Steps to Captivate Your Dream Clients and Stand Out in an Overhyped World. Some long, crazy title like that. But the 3 key messages were: clarify your message, share your message, monetize your message. And just, I taught each of those 3 things from a place of marketing with heart. So from a place of honoring your value, your voice, and your vision. And then it led into a marketing with heart mentoring program, which I'm actually starting in a couple of weeks.
So you would teach about these 3 points, and then in the program that you're offering at the end, then you would say how we dive deeper into these points?
Yeah, that's how we're going to implement. Now, it's not always like a direct connection like that, where it's like, these are what I'm going to teach you, and this is what we're going to implement.
Right.
Sometimes it's not necessarily that aligned, but I think it can be really powerful to give people real meat, and show them what the steps are. And some people will say, got it, I'm good. And that's great. We're here to give without being attached to the outcome.
Right.
And other people will feel really aligned with you and say, I want your help making this come true.
That's beautiful. And I think it's important to, like you said, give them that value up front, that they can say, oh my gosh, this is the answer I've been looking for. Of course. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I got this little piece done thanks to this hour-long talk, or I got clarity on it. I got the understanding. I could move forward with this, and like, wow, this if this is what I get in this hour or in this webinar or whatever it might be, imagine what I get in this program. And then that's when the effectiveness of the messaging being all integrated and the ability to convey and share the solution effectively, articulately is super important in that process.
Exactly. Because, that's what I love about marketing so much. And that's why I get so sad when people don't like marketing, because it's really about just, it's about sharing your message. And the way educational marketing is, it's all about adding value, right?
Yes.
And building relationships. So that's just such a heart-centered way of doing it. You don't have to go in for the kill.
Right. What do you think is the fastest way to be effective at marketing for people who maybe they have something, but it's not quite working as well as they'd like it to, or, even that we do have a lot of startup entrepreneurs who are just getting started and learning how to articulate their message. Like, what's the fastest way? Like, we got your steps, but like, what do we have to do with those? How do we execute on those the fastest?
Well, I hate to say this, but part of the problem is people want to do it too fast. And that's what I'm trying to argue for, is don't rush it. Like, build the foundation. If you get into action mode and just doing before you have clarity and a clear message, that's where you end up wasting time. So we have to have a little patience.
Yeah.
We need to have some patience, and we need, to take it my whole motto is like, build on success, right? So let's take it one step at a time. Let's build a foundation of success, then start sharing your message. And as you share it, if you're not getting the results you want, then we have to look at it. Okay, what's off? Am I reaching the right audience? Is my landing page copy okay? Is the giveaway topic okay? Like, we have to, that's where the analysis has to come in a little bit. And say, okay, well, where's the hole in the bucket? And too many times, what happens? People go, oh, this niche isn't working, and I'm going to try something else. And they jump to something else, and they start all over again.
Wow. I hear a lot of times that our ideal target market, target audience is oftentimes who we were, like a couple steps behind us. I think, that's a common coaching. I think that's a good a success place to stand on with coaching. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it can be very true. It can be, but I guess where it gets complicated sometimes is that we all have so many journeys in our lives.
Yeah.
It's which is the journey that you want to build your business on. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a client once. She had lost a son, and he was an adult son, but she was still obviously grieving. And when she first came to me, she really thought that her niche was going to be helping people who've lost a loved one. And after kind of experimenting in it, she's like, I don't want to live in that place. That's just not where I want to be. So just because we have so many different experiences and journeys, but we have to choose the one that's again aligned. That's where the patterns comes in, aligned with our strengths and our experiences and our passions.
Yeah. It's so important that just because we've gone through something like, alcoholism or abuse or whatever it might be, doesn't necessarily mean that we want to stay in that area coaching those people, because like that could be really heavy. And if you're a fun-loving person, then, that might not fill you up. It might not charge you.
Exactly. And it might even just be like, exactly. It could be something really heavy, but also it might not even use your skills the best too. Right. So we have to, that's why it's like putting together a puzzle. Like all the pieces have to fit. Right. Yeah. But that's a great question. I think that's a really insightful question, because a lot of people struggle with that.
What do you think is what brands or who comes to mind when you think of marketing with heart?
Okay. Other than me, let's see. I'm kidding.
Well, it's true. That's true. That's one.
My goodness, that's a tough question, because I think everybody. Let me say this. I think it's shifting to people marketing with heart, and I think we're getting smarter at smelling out the hype. And I'm certainly not going to name any specific names. I think we can smell it. And you know what? I'm not perfect at all. Believe me, I've had to shift some of my own marketing where I realized, oh my gosh, that felt really hypey. And there's still some times where I question myself, like, is it okay to have a fast action bonus? Does it feel too hypey? And, like it's a constantly evolving thing. I don't think, yeah.
What are some of the hypey don't do this that you've seen that really you think detracts from one's professional heart marketing abilities and delivery?
The biggest one is exaggerated claims. I'm going to help you double your business in 3 months, or whatever the case might be. Right. And I've seen some people teach messaging where you're supposed to put like real specifics in it, where, you're giving quantifiable results. To me, that feels very hypey.
Yeah.
Because I can't promise those results, and each person is so unique, and just because it worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you the same way or whatever. It feels to me really hypey. So just, yes, we have to show an outcome, but I don't think that we have to make these like over the top claims.
Okay. Is there anything else that you have seen that triggers your hype or BS meter?
Yeah. So we want to be vulnerable, but sometimes it feels contrived. And I've seen this too much. So as an example, I remember I was at an event and I saw one of the speakers get up on stage and share their story. And it was like so overly dramatic, and it was like fake tears that it was like, oh my God, this feels so contrived. And then I went to another event where they were speaking as well, and it was the exact same gestures and tears at the same place. And I was like, this is such BS. So we want to be vulnerable, but in an authentic way. Like share, like to me, being vulnerable, it's not just about like sharing your story. It's also about, where did I screw up? What have I learned from it? And you are so great at that.
Thank you.
I've seen you do that so powerfully.
Thank you. I'm still dealing with it. I'm still like figuring out how to like, because I think everyone who shares with vulnerability, like there's always this aspect of, am I doing this right? Should I be doing this? Is this really like authentic? Is this really me? That's like for me, it's like, I don't want to be doing it to get attention, but then I also know that it does get attention. So it's like,
But you know what? Maybe I can help you feel better.
Yeah.
Think about your intention behind it. Is your intention to get attention, or is your intention to help yourself grow and help others grow?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And people feel that in you, Chris. They know, that it's not, that it comes from a genuine place. People can connect with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. No, it's like, seriously, I think we all wonder, am I doing this right? Am I on the right track? So I appreciate the validation and acknowledgement. And, it's like one step at a time. So how do you set yourself up for success in terms of like your days and your weeks and your months? What are some success habits or routines that you engage in that make a difference for you?
That's a great question. So, I'm getting better at this. I wasn't always the best, but I'm getting way better. So first of all, I only see clients when my kids are in school.
Okay.
They're older now, so I have more freedom. But they're still, I still have a 13-year-old. So, but I still I set boundaries for myself on that. That's one of my biggest priorities. Don't work on the weekends. That's another priority for me. So just protecting my time, because, I built this business so I could have time for my family, and I want to make sure I do. So that's one. But then the other thing is that I started getting better at really planning, when I'm going to be doing certain programs.
Yes.
I used to just kind of be more, let's do this. I'm very impulsive. So I've gotten way better at and my assistant really appreciates it.
I'm sure. Oh my gosh.
And I'll literally have a campaign ready to go weeks before it's ready to go. I'm just thank you.
Oh my gosh. So I'm curious. I have been collecting email addresses, and I would say not being as effective with the nurturing of that list. And I think there might be a lot of people out there too who've been collecting business cards or, connecting with people, whatever it might be. What's a good way to really start re-engaging with that list? I'm sure we have to get our messaging down and our, what we stand for and stuff. But is there anything else that you would recommend about kind of bringing that introduction back, bringing the flow of communication back to someone or groups of people who you haven't communicated with in a while?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I'm not sure I have the perfect answer, so I'll give you a few options and you can think about what feels good for you.
Okay.
So one is, and I don't remember who came up with this. It wasn't me. It was, you can Google 9-word email. I don't remember who came up with it.
Okay.
Some internet marketing guru, but it's basically the subject line is, and I use something like this: quick question for you. Are you still interested in learning how to blah, blah, blah? That's for more of people who I think haven't been opening your emails for a while, or that could be a good approach. And then you say, if so, please type yes and just answer yes, reply with a yes. And then you can start having engagement, which is really powerful. But another way is also through, a survey and saying, I've been away for a little bit. I've been really focusing on some new trainings that I want to provide for you. And I'd really like to provide what's going to be most valuable. Please, take 2 minutes and share your feedback so I can, give you what's most helpful for you. And can I give you a little bonus tip on doing surveys?
Yes.
You can actually use surveys to not only get ideas and messaging, you can get clients from surveys.
What?
But you can put an optional question in there that says, if you would like me to help you, blah, 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 leave your name and email address and phone number and we'll be in touch.
Wow.
I have gotten I did one survey. I got over 50 people requesting a strategy session with me.
That's awesome.
Just from that one question.
Holy moly. That's super, super good.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, that's great. That definitely helped me out a lot. And I'm sure for people out there who want to re-engage their list, it'll make a big difference for them. So Cindy, we're beginning to wrap up here, and the hour has flown by. And I just want to get clear on what are the final takeaways of marketing with heart versus hype.
Come from a place of passion, integrity, and confidence. And you're so good at this, Chris. Just avoid the fear or intimidation or ego. It's really remember when you were asking me, how do I know if I'm doing this? It's the place that you're coming from. And so when you give without being attached to the outcome, when you just come from a place of being passionate about who you're here to help and what you help them with, and you're building it from a place of strength that honors you and honors your voice. This is my biggest mission, is to help people say what they want to say, not just what other people want to hear. And that is what drives me more than anything.
Wow.
And you know what? If people don't resonate with it, it's okay.
Right.
You're not here to connect with everybody.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I also believe it's the thing that I took away the most is like taking a stand for your client. How do you communicate that with them as simply as possible? Like once you've figured out, who you want to work with, I think a lot of people have a challenge with, okay, I know who I want to work with, and I think I'm clear on my perfect client, but how do I communicate with them? How do I really show them that I care? How do I connect with them at a human level? And I think that taking a stand for them, what that is and how you do that is super important to get clear, or at least, for everyone listening. That's a next step for you. What is the stand that you take for your clients? Whether it's in your email marketing, the next video that you make, the next message that you make, tell them what you are taking a stand for them for, how you're doing that, or what is their outcome, what is their result that you're standing that they achieve and they fulfill on.
Exactly. Can I quickly share my core message with you?
Please.
Real quick?
Yes.
Okay. To be a smart marketer, you have to know your target market. To build a profitable business you love, you have to know yourself. And and you do. You're getting clearer and clearer. I feel it. You're like you're awesome. So
thank you, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. So we want to know, how do we take that next step with you, Cindy? What's the next step our listener can do to stay connected with you, to get a resource or anything like that, to continue the journey with you?
Okay, well, I'll give you two options here. One is if you just want to get some of my freebies, you can go to my website. I actually have a whole page of free gifts. I have an authentic brand guide. I've got a brand message template. Just start with what's the biggest hole for you, if you will. But I would suggest just going to marketingfromwithin.com. But if you are serious about getting some help, I did mention I'm doing the Marketing with Heart mentoring program, and we start in a couple of weeks. I'm working with a very small group of people. One of my values in my business, Chris, is that every program I do, I include private coaching. Call me crazy. I know it's not scalable. Every coach tells me not to do it. I don't care. So I'm working with a small group of people. We only have 2 spots left. So if somebody's serious about working with me on this stuff, then just go to, I can't remember the name of the page. I think it's marketingfromwithin.com/apply.
Okay.
Or just send me a message on Facebook. I can't remember the URL. Yeah, marketingfromwithin.com/apply. And we'll set up a call real quick so that we can see if it's a good fit for you.
Awesome. Cindy, I love it. Thank you for the heart and the love and yourself and authenticity that you bring to everything that you do, and teaching people how to access that through their gifts, through their experience, through their life journey, and so that they can make the biggest difference possible and be fulfilled, be supercharged, be a radiant light in the world. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome. We will see you very soon, and have the best day ever, okay?
You too. Bye.